little bit of a bummer because it's insanely fun. It's a lot like Super Time Force, not in mechanics at all, but just that it's very simple, but a very cool concept that is just a joy to play. And I love competing in these ridiculous fake sports with my brothers. It's a lot of fun.
That's when I really like indie games, when they do something completely unique and simple, and it just generally just works. That's when indie games really come good for me.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head right there, which is that I do like indie games when they do something unique and different, but when they try to be basically a small version of a big game, that's where I typically don't like it. But things that focus on one type of thing and do it so well, something like Mark of the Ninja with stealth, or like the Sports Friends with just goofy multiplayer, that's when they're really at the top of their game.
So should we just briefly talk about some of the news with the news over the last week. So got the Xbox One has dropped the Kinect, hasn't it? Which is
massive.
Oh my God. To me, so let's talk about Microsoft for a little bit. They've gone back on a lot of their stuff recently, and it's from the start when they first launched the console. They seem to be backtracking a lot, which doesn't make them look very strong. It doesn't make the sort of decisions they made very clear as well. It's all very sort of jumbled up. Now they're talking about taking the Kinect away completely and making Xbox One stronger, like more powerful, basically. Not stronger, but more powerful as a console to sort of compete alongside the PS4, which then makes even less sense. It's just like they keep like putting stuff in and taking it back out again. It's very, very odd.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lot of people were saying, oh, of course they had to do this. Nobody wanted the Kinect. But I think if you step back and look at it from like you were saying, just their stance on things, what they stood for and their vision, it was very surprising that they basically, gave up on that in a way. And to clarify, what they've done is starting June 9th, the Xbox One will be available without Kinect for $399, making it the same price as PlayStation 4. And this move was probably mostly just a straight numbers deal. They weren't selling enough. They wanted to sell more. Phil Spencer came in, wanted to make some changes. But yeah, it's interesting, that the digital future thing kind of got wiped aside, and now Kinect is also becoming an afterthought. Did you see that Harmonix in particular was very upset about this on Twitter? Like, they were not previously...
I can see that.
Yeah, Harmonix, the people who've made, stuff like Rock Band and...
Rock Band.
Rock Band.
Rock Band 2.
They're working on Disney Fantasia, which was a Kinect game, and I'm guessing some other future projects.
Yeah, stuff like that. The publishers and developers must be a little bit... If they're working on Kinect stuff, they
gotta
be
be
what are you
off.
doing? Seriously.
And it sounded like they weren't made aware, because they were like, oh, great. Their tweets were all like, wow, this is a great day. Like, they completely were, caught off guard. And ultimately, you have to do what's best for your bottom line brand. But for those companies, I do feel for them. If they were
definitely
making a game focusing on Kinect, it's like that can't happen anymore, really. You can't invest AAA dollars in Kinect if it's not guaranteed in every box.
Well, I mean, I guess there's still like 5 million Kinects out there, but honestly, I've disconnected my Kinect because it gets so annoying. And I like playing a game, and I speak, obviously, because I'm doing commentary, and it just picks up my freaking sound, or it never picks up my face when I walk in either. So half the things it says it doesn't do it for me. So I disconnected it, threw it to one side. I haven't really used it since. So.
They gave this fact that 80% of Xbox One users use Kinect, which...
All right, that's because it's connected when you put it in.
You have to turn it on or something. They also said that Kinect is going to be more than $100 when it launches, as a separate peripheral. So that makes it even harder, because now someone's going to buy a $400 Xbox One and probably $130 or $150 Kinect. Like, that makes no sense.
I mean, are they still selling the Kinect with the Xbox still? Is that completely scrapped altogether now?
I don't know. Like, if they're going to have both. They said they're going to have a deluxe bundle still available.
Okay.
So maybe they will keep it at $500, and then just, if you want to buy them separately, although that seems totally silly.
I'd be interested to know, like, if someone can let me in the comments whether this has convinced you to get an Xbox One, though. Is this the price drop? And obviously Kinectless has now convinced you to actually buy the Xbox One. It'd be interesting to know that. Let us know in the comments.
I mean, from my standpoint, I think this is a great move for them. I think it really puts them in a good spot, because even though you and I prefer PS4 and it's a faster, technically better piece of hardware, a lot of people probably don't care about that as much and just want to focus on the games. And I love that this places all the emphasis on the games. And they specifically said the reason they did this before E3 was that so E3 could be all about new games, which I think is so cool.
I like that. Yeah, it's definitely a good move for me. I think it's going to sell them more consoles, and I think it's going to put them in line a little bit with the PS4. And honestly, I still think the Xbox One has better games coming and better games out already. So all props to them. And what do you also think about this new? So they've announced the Xbox Gold now. You don't need that to actually like access Netflix,
right,
and stuff like that. Do you think that's a positive as well? That's going to come in.
I definitely think so. I mean, they're trying to. It sounds like be more like PlayStation Plus. They've announced their first Xbox One games for Gold, which will be the free game in June. It's Halo Spartan Assault and Max Curse the Brotherhood that you can get for free. And they've also said if you want a refund on Gold because you only used it for Netflix, that you can get that in June as well. Okay. So I think it's a great move for consumers. I was a bit surprised to see so much Microsoft hate online of just like, who cares the price? You guys still suck. You screwed us. And almost that reverse effect of like, now there's people who are saying, oh, I hate Microsoft because they did do this, because they did give up on Kinect. It's like they can never win. No company can ever win.
Look, yeah, I think they've still got their fanboys, and I think Sony's still got their fanboys as well. But, I mean, generally, like we both say all the time, we just want good games. And
absolutely.
That's what we want. So.
A lot of people are talking, is Sony going to react to this? Will Sony drop price?
No.
Yeah,
they have no need to.
They have no need to. They're in the lead, and I would bet they posted their earnings, and it was all losses. Supposedly their executives and CEOs are taking massive pay cuts. So even though they're selling like gangbusters, that's an expensive system to make. Now, I heard a really interesting idea, and I wanted to ask you what you thought of it. Someone was saying, would you have preferred Sony to have made a $500 PS4 that performed significantly better than the current SKU, but it would be, sort of like how PS3 came out at $600, but it was a technical powerhouse, at least for the time. And not to say that PS4 isn't, but would you have wanted to pay more for even more of a system? And this comes in light of people not feeling like the graphical leap is that huge. Stuff like Watch Dogs not being able to achieve full 1080 on PS4, etc., etc.
I mean, honestly, for me, I think the price was quite good. I think for now, it feels like it's a reasonable system to have. But I guess perhaps in the future, I'd say to anyone who thinks there's not a big enough jump to play Infamous Second Son and then say that again. But I think the PS4 at the moment is set around the right price, and it's got enough, just about enough power, I think. So, I mean, obviously, hopefully they can include this cloud gaming as well. That could perhaps make it stronger. Yeah, I think it's about right.
I think it is too, and I think you got to remember that if you look at Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, go play something like